Once again, two series for us here, the Midwest Days of Thunder Cup Series. Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It's Rocky Game 150 brought to you by Jinx Shifters. Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Jason over here, Signature Esports at 1.
What is going on everybody, and welcome to the final race of our initial first ever, what do you want to call it, truck season for the regular season, I should say. We are live here at Monza, not the road course, no, the Super Speedway Oval. And if you have never raced here, watched a race here, you are in for a show. This race puts on some really good racing, some really violent wrecks. Joined tonight by Gary. What is going on, Gary?
Not much. Just getting ready for some racing here at Monza. We like to call it Monza Madness here. It's going to be a pretty interesting race.
Yeah, I don't know if interesting is the right word for it. I would say hectic, as there are certain parts of this track to where if you are not careful, you can cause a violent wreck in a hurry. We saw Ryan Simone bury about half his truck inside the barrier. But before we go racing, let's go ahead and let's talk to the good old truck and Mr. Derek Schimmel. I haven't talked to him in a while, and get his thoughts on the season and what he's looking forward to going to the playoffs, and maybe a little grind his bones a little bit there about not keeping a dirt race in the playoffs. What's going on, Schimmel? Gary and I's in the booth. Got a copy?
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Haven't talked to you about this truck series, dude. The season kind of started off a little rough here, and as of lately, these guys have been doing a really good, phenomenal job keeping the green flag runs going to kind of reverse what ARCA has done. I'm going to talk through how this season kind of met your expectations and what you felt like could be improved on going into next season.
Well, excuse me. Dude, like you said, these guys have done an amazing job this season. They've made my job very easy, actually, as an admin.
As of
next
late.
Season, yeah, right. Like you said,
Start of the season was rough, really rough.
But that's with any season, right? Like typically, the start is kind of rough. You know,
well, when you start off your first race ever of a series with every truck being damaged, that's not usually a good thing to start off with. But these guys have definitely done a really good job working on their racing around each other.
Yes, you know, with anything, right? Like, you know, you've raced around us enough, so
yeah,
you know, right? You get comfortable around the people you race with every week, so you could drive harder, you know, race them a little bit harder, you know, stuff like that. Next season, I know there's going to be some changes, as in track, I guess, picking, like the schedule. Going to be more common tracks next season. This being the first season, I kind of went out a little crazy. And,
A little?
The dirt track and like tonight is a bit crazy, but I think it'll make for tonight's event. I think it'll make for a great broadcast. I hope that was the plan with this. So.
Yeah, I'm looking for the racing. Only thing I'm not looking forward to is the camera angles here kind of suck. So I think for the most part we're gonna be in chopper mode, which is unfortunate, not what we're used to seeing. But man, I got to pick your bones a little bit, man. How could you take dirt racing out of the playoffs?
I was asked to.
So you mean to tell me I gotta get on Tabor about that?
No. Tabor, he basically, lets us do what we want, right? But quite a few people actually didn't like the dirt, and it wasn't getting a great turnout. Like it got decent turnouts, and I was pretty pleased with the turnouts it got, but I still wanted more people, so.
Gotcha. Now, I know you haven't made the next season schedule yet. I don't know if you've driven Bristol Dirt, but I guarantee you, if you have talked to someone who raced Bristol Dirt before patch and after, Bristol Dirt's actually a really fun track to race in these trucks now. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, after it, right?
Yeah, I'm like what, 2 weeks after we raced there, it actually turned out pretty decent.
Yeah.
But, so one of the main questions I got to ask you, and I know a lot of Xfinity drivers are also wondering the same thing. I know it was at the start of the season a race down series. Is it going to go back to that next season now that our numbers are a little bit more up there?
Honestly, haven't discussed that yet. Yeah, I still in the dark about that one too, sir.
So you're saying there's a possibility?
Yeah. Okay, Isaac. My stance is I don't like racing down. In any series. But I also understand it. So we'll do, what's ever best, right? So if racing down is gonna keep the numbers up, keep the racing good, the broadcast good, then by all means we'll do it.
Yeah, well, so this is the way I look at racing down. So I've been in Xfinity for a bit, and I've been in the league for I think 4 total seasons now, ARCA seasons that is. I like racing down, and the reason for that is, like you had mentioned, drivers not knowing how to run around other drivers. With that racing down opportunity, you then know kind of how certain drivers, at least some drivers, race when you move up in the series. Like, for example, when Anthony comes down to race Xfinity, Greg, and all them come down to race Xfinity, I already know how they race. I don't got to worry about them. Now, going up the Cup, while I'm starting to race around people I've never raced around before, it might get a little iffy. That's why I like the racing down idea, to maybe have trucks be like ARCA and Xfinity type of deal. But, I mean, I'm not the admin of the truck series you are. That's my point of view on racing down.
No, I mean, that makes sense when you put it like that. Like, getting to know how everyone drives, that's nothing wrong with that, so we'll see.
So, I'll just give you a little how it went for me. Because my first season in Xfinity was really rough. Just because I went from ARCA to racing around a lot of guys I have never raced around before. So learning how everyone races was rough. Because as you know, you have your good racers and you have your people who are all over the place. And you have your fast guys, right? Not knowing that going into Xfinity was rough. But now I've been there for a couple seasons. I know how everyone races. And a lot of guys that race with now race with me in ARCA and last season in Xfinity. So that's just my point of view on drivers being able to race down. Just give other drivers a feel on how drivers drive in the next series are going to possibly move up to the next season.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, when you put it like that, it makes sense, and I'm for it for that reason.
All right, man. I'll get you out of here in a second. Just one last quick question I got for you, man. Who do you got as the underdog going into the Championship 4 race that might sneak their way into there in a few weeks? I mean, we know we got our fast guys. We got Laddie Key, 4J. They've been fast all season. Joyner has had his moments. Jordan's had his moments. Who do you think can kind of sneak their way into the Championship 4?
Championship 4, huh?
Yeah. Because the playoffs are pretty much set. I looked at the top 16. Pretty much set. Anyone 17th below has no chance to make it in after tonight. They're too far back.
Yeah, with the point spread, yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, no, not gonna happen. I don't know. Kinda like to see Marshall Harris do good.
Harris. That's an interesting pick because he has his rough races, but when he can stay out of trouble, he's actually pretty quick. So that's an interesting pick. All right, man.
see.
Well, I'll let you get back up there to the garage and BS with the guys during the race, and hopefully puts on a pretty good show. And hopefully, if we have a big one, it's pretty massive because these wrecks are fun here.
Then we won't have no trucks left to race.
you race your so you know when a wreck happens, it's bad.
Yeah.
All right, man. Later.
All right.
I thought we were talking Mr. Derek Schimmel. The qualifying went ahead and got done there. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look at the qualifying order here tonight. Scheduled for 30 laps of racing. As we take a look at our official starting grid, you got Lance Hill. Actually won last week, coming back and following up on that win, getting the pole position here with a 51.605. Outside of him, you got Kevin Jordan. Kevin Jordan last time went super speed racing in these trucks. He kind of had his race end a little bit earlier than what he wanted to on the pulling out of the grid at the super speedway. So looking to have a good outing here. Row 2, you got Chase Harden and Nick Joyner. Row 3, Josh Van Western, Adam Leideke. Row 4, you got DJ Schomburger and Ryan Simone. Row 5, Vince Vakin and Robert E. Morrison. Row 6, you got Alex Forjay and Joshua O'Connor. Row 7, Corey Raboyne, and I don't believe Matt is racing. Row 8, you got Brandon Hughes, everyone's favorite truck driver, and David McGuire. And to round out the field, you have Marshall Harris and Robert Hissong. I think that's how you say his last name.
I think it's Robert Hissong.
But we had talked about it with Derek while he was in here. I've done multiple races of this track in all sorts of different cars, from Cup to Cadillacs to LMP2s. when a wreck happens here, it's different than any other super speedway because since they're guardrails, you're going to see one of two things. You're going to see a truck either get stuck in the guardrail and cause more of a pileup, or you're going to see them bouncing around and flying around the track. They definitely get interesting. We're actually going to ride on board here with the number 95 to kind of explain going into 1 and 3 the trouble these guys are going to face as they go into the turns. But why do they have the pacing, Gary? Who's your sleeper pick going into the playoffs that can sneak their way into the championship 4? Real quick before you talk.
I don't know.
So right here, you guys, that wall you saw that ended, both 1 and 3 have that, and it is really, really easy to drift up into that wall. And if you hit that wall, you're going for a ride. But go ahead, Gary.
I don't know. There's a lot of guys in here who I haven't really been watching too much, but I'm thinking maybe Ryan Simone or Chase Harden can make their way in the championship 4 possibly.
You know
they are your points leaders.
Yeah, they're points there. They've been at every race, but Simone has been. I mean, he's had a rough patch lately, but before these last few races, he's been really consistently in the top 10. And I forgot to ask Schimmel. I know when we used to have the one playoff round races where if you won the first race, you locked in the championship 4. That might be the thing this season. To be interesting to see if that is. But if that is, if Payton or Chase can somehow win that first race of the playoffs, they're locked into championship 4. But man, I think my sleeper pick, it's gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to pick Josh Van Western. I mean, he's been up there. We've been calling his name out during the races. It's just he hasn't had the finishes that line up to where he was running at.
Yeah, Josh Van Weston's also one of those that's pretty good. I believe he also had a pretty good finish last night at or not last night, last week at Nashville Fairgrounds, so he could get up there as well.
So this is going to be our playoff schedule. We're going to go from here to next week. Will be a paved Charlotte at night for 70 laps. Then Dover, Watkins Glen, And then the championship race will be at Homestead. So championship week will be a Homestead week. But this will be a most likely our camera angle, as I didn't really find a good one. There's too many trees. We go green flag race in 95 and 2052 leading us to green flag. That's going to be wild to get used to. I used to broadcast Lance Hill and Cup, and he was always the 6th car, so that's going to be interesting.
You got the 5 of Chase Harden. He hasn't decided yet who he's going to work with. It looks like he's going to try to work with Lance Hill to try to see if he can get that 2nd place.
Yeah, and another interesting thing, seeing them stay above the yellow line, I was under the assumption the yellow line rule is not in effect here tonight. It will be interesting to see as this race goes on to see if we see people dip below, if they change their minds on. As I say that, looks like the 86 Nick Jordan went below the yellow there. So I don't think it is in effect tonight.
Yes, he did go below the yellow line, but I don't know if it worked for him too much. No one else went down there.
But it looks like these guys are playing it pretty smart so far, kind of staying single file. As I say, it looks like we're going to go double file. Can't quite tell from this camera angle. Ooh, someone's into the wall toward the back.
I believe that was Joshua O'Connor in that 39. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. Yeah, that was Joshua O'Connor.
So once again, I do apologize for kind of the bad camera angles, but because this track isn't a common track people run, we're kind of stuck with either chopper view or one of the TV views, but the TV views tend to leave a lot of gaps in the racing, so I just went with chopper.
So right now we got a 5-car pack here up front. That's something else that's going to be pretty interesting though as well tonight, is coming down the pit road on our green flag pit stops.
Yeah, that
One
is
of those similar iRacing Super Speedway where it's pretty sketchy getting down there.
See, iRacing Super Speedway isn't too bad. You see the 95 of Kevin Jordan looking down low underneath Chase Harden there going down the backstretch. iRacing Super Speedway actually isn't that bad of a pit road if you know what you're doing. But if it's your first time getting on it, yeah, it gets a little dicey. But Chase Harden, Kevin Jordan, and Lance Hill kind of leading the field. And right behind them, you got the 25 of Josh Van Western and Nick Jordan to round out your top 5.
Ryan Simone's up in that pack as well. He did good at iRacing Super Speedway, so don't count him out either.
Oh, it looks like the 69 David McGuire might have gotten into the wall a little bit there going into turn 1.
5 of Josh Van Weston looking to the outside of Chase Harden right now. They made a little bit of contact into 1 and 2. We'll see who's able to get the advantage coming in at 3 and 4. And it looks like Chase Harden is going to be able to stay in front of Josh Van Weston.
It was caution.
And your caution
out.
is out.
Looks like Brandon Hughes has some issues. I don't see him wrecking on SDK, so let's go back and take a look and see what might have happened here. It's Mr. Brandon Hughes.
Big checkup, and Brandon Hughes got sent outside of the track.
That's one of the things I'm talking about. These wrecks here get wild. Brandon Hughes nowhere to go. David McGuire on his outside. And how about that save for Boynhead? We can't quite catch it because Brandon Hughes went off a track, but watch his 24 kind of pulls together and saved his truck here after his contact with Brandon Hughes. Gets a little bit of contact, a little bit of damage, and does a hell of a job keeping it going straight. He's got a right cockpit view here with the number 24 while he collects his truck. A little bit of damage there for him, but it shouldn't affect him too much. So first caution is out. I know, Gary, you had mentioned 20 laps is the fuel run, so they are still outside the fuel window to make it to the end. I don't know if we're seeing anyone come to pit road here. It's going to be interesting.
I don't know, because I haven't done any laps here either, but I don't know if you definitely can't say 5 laps even in the draft. I don't think you can. You might be able to, though.
So,
And it looks like we've got some guys coming into pit road.
Looks like we got everyone coming in the pit road. No, it looks like I can't tell who that is from here.
Vincent Vaccoon.
Vaccoon. Yeah, it looks like he decides to stay out as everyone else comes to pit lane. But while we are under caution here, let's go ahead and give a rundown of this next week's schedule coming up. I know last night, for those of you guys tuned in, we had a really good race last night at the Rockingham Speedway, and good old I almost said Charlotte. I think it's in Benson, North Carolina, I believe. Great race there. We have this truck race here tonight at Monza, and then ARCA Cup. They are also going to Rockingham for their second race of the round of 16. I believe, I can't remember who won Auto Club. I believe 4J won Auto Club.
I believe so.
But 4J won Auto Club, kind of locked himself into that round of 12. Rockingham, if you've never driven there, it's a very interesting track. I like to compare it to Darlington. Just the way you have the diamond in the turns. I just look at it as a Darlington with more room for air. Darlington, you literally have no room from air, and Rockingham, you kind of get away with missing your braking point or getting a little loose in corner exit without slamming the wall. So ARCA should be really interesting race there. Those cars, they're actually handled pretty well there from last I remember. What's going to make it interesting is when you get old tires at Rockingham, really the only way to pass is the bump and run, which you can't do in ARCA. So those guys have to figure out a way to get around a guy in front of them that's slower or for position without utilizing the bumper. But then we go cup racing at Rockingham for our second race of the round of 16. Ethan Flanagan collecting win at Auto Cup for his first win of the season to lock himself in the round of 12. So going into Rockingham, don't really got to worry about collecting win there. He is already locked in. But it's going to be interesting as 4 Cup guys did miss Auto Club that were in the playoffs. So I believe as long as the 12 that showed up to Auto Club show up at Rockingham, they should advance. If one of them does not show up, the race for the round of 12 is going to become interesting. And then next week, we kick off our round of 12 playoff for Xfinity. Everyone made it in, I believe, except for Bob Gallagher. So your playoff drivers, and this isn't in the running order they'll be in, going into the round of 12 will be Davey Hendricks, Eric Warman, Michael Giberson, Josh Grosso, Tim Harmon, Thomas Stanley, Francisco Villarreal, myself, Matthew Spires, Stephen Davis, Rob Nickel, Michael Gravy will be your 12 playoff drivers going into the Daytona Road Course. And that's going to be an interesting one as we have had to find a setup because Xfinity doesn't have a setup there. Brandon Hughes just messaged me. He said F Monza, LOL. Tough break for Brandon. But hey, look at the price at Brandon. You're technically locked into the playoffs, man. Take a breather. Get some practice at Charlotte and go get a win there, dude. Sneak yourself into the round of 4. Be the underdog that no one expected to win.
I noticed we did have a couple guys come down pit road a second time. Maybe they're just trying to top off on fuel, that or they're wanting to stay in the back to avoid a possible crash.
Yeah, and staying in the back is an interesting strategy here. I mean, as we just saw, that last wreck happened towards the back. So staying in the back of the pack, that's an interesting strategy, especially since we just saw a caution happen towards the rear of the field. I was telling drivers some little bit of advice. The back of the pack is not the safest spot at the Super Speedway, by any means. But we are ready for some more green flag racing as Vincent Vacken will lead us to the green flag. Outside him, Kevin Jordan. Row 2, Peyton Hart and Josh Van Western.
I was gonna say, that's Chase Harden. Payton's not racing tonight.
Did I seriously say Peyton?
Yep.
No, I didn't. Shut up. Shut up.
No, you did.
Oh, Lord. As Kevin Jordan easily edging in front of that 83 of Vincent Fatkin, as it looks like he might be just trying to sneak into the draft, save a little bit of gas since he's on a different fuel strategy with the rest of these guys.
Lance Hill up a few spots from 5th. He's one of those guys who's always been really good at super speedways. He's all the way up in 3rd right now.
Oh, please. Lance Hill's good everywhere. When I used to broadcast him in Cup, I used to call him the wheel man because if he races these playoffs, the saves he can pull off are insane. So he kind of got the nickname Lance the Wheelman Hill for me. The 86 and Nick Jordan working around the 15 of DJ Schomburg, as well as the 19 of Alex 4J.
DJ Schallenberger is falling back a lot right now.
Yeah, I don't believe he has any damage on that truck. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. A little bit of rear end damage. Let's go ahead and take a look at the front of his truck. No, I think he's just playing it smart, kind of going toward the back and hoping wrecks happen in front of him. After 3 wide going through 3 and 4, I believe we're at right now. As Brandon Hughes saying, let's go 45, Robert E. Morrison. I don't know if the 80... Oh, Lance Hill gets turned around. Big wreck behind him. Whole field is involved. Wow, the only guy that made it through that was the 95 of Kevin Jordan, I believe. Wow. Huge wreck. Let's go back and see what started that whole entire wreck. So it started somewhere around here. We might have to rewind it a little bit more. Looks like it started going into turn 1. There's not enough room for that 25 kind of. Oh, we talked about the netcode bug earlier. That's what got him right there. Ever so slight bit of neck between a 25 and 52. Going into turn 1, they still had about an inch and a half or so between them, and the good old iRacing netcode bug strikes again. We see Lance Hill getting turned 25, unable to save it. 4J involved. 86 of Joyner might have made it through. As I say that, I fast forwarded and he definitely did not make it through it. Chase hard impact. 4J hard impact. 24 Boyne involved. 39 of a Connor. I think everyone's involved, dude. Can't get quite a good view from this angle. Oh my God, dude. Gary, go back and watch the 25 after he got through that wreck and watch what happened to him.
I'm going.
So the 25, he has damage getting through this wreck. He goes off track and wow, he went airborne. The big one strikes here at Monza, and I don't know if anyone made it through that other than the 95. Go ahead and take a closer look at the 15 machine. He looks like he has a decent amount of damage. 19.
Kevin Jordan must be really happy right now. Because he's the only car out there.
No, there's one more out there. I think Marshall Harris decided he wanted to show up and come have some fun 11 laps down, though. Wow. I've never seen a wreck take out the whole field. And I know I talked about it before, and I had mentioned it to a lot of people. The safest spot to be on this track is that inside lane, the first car. And that's exactly where the 95 was. He was the only car up there, and he was the only car that made it through. Holy cow, that's insane.
Let's see who survived that.
Kevin.
Grid tack up.
Kevin, that's it. Kevin and Marshall, only clean trucks out there. Speaking of Kevin, let's go ahead and pull Kevin Jordan up. What is going on, Kevin?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man. Wild wreck behind you, dude. I had talked about it earlier with a lot of different drivers saying the safest spot was to be out there in the lead. Saw you being a little bit aggressive. Were you just trying to get in front knowing that's the safest spot to be?
No, I was just trying to get to the front to go for the win. The wreck
Got-
wasn't even on my mind, really.
Gotcha, man. Well, that big wreck, I believe, took everyone out here, dude. So, talking through your plan for the rest of the race, knowing you're probably the only clean truck out there other than Marshall Harris, who's 11 laps down.
Yeah, I was actually just rewatching the replay there on YouTube and kind of shocked about it, really.
But while we got you up here, man, go ahead and talk us through this track and the difficulties of it. Because I know it's not your typical cookie-cutter super speedway. There's actually a lot of technical difficulties of this track with how the corner entries are. And it looks like you have to get a little bit loose rolling through the center of the turn.
I actually don't find 1 and 2 all that bad. It's when you hit about middle of 3 and 4, you kind of slide up the track a little bit because the truck's bottoming out. But other than that, it's actually a fun track. My first time here.
All right, man. Well, good luck the rest of the race, and hopefully talk to you at the end of the race. Actually, one last question for you, man. We're getting ready to go into the playoffs here, dude. I know you don't need a win here, but if you end up winning, how important is that to build that momentum up going into the playoffs next week?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, the more bonus points towards the better at the end of the season, right? So hopefully we can get a few more here and be up on the leaderboard.
All right, man. Well, good luck the rest of the race.
All right, thank you.
So, big one strikes here. Wow, that was a huge one. Probably the biggest wreck I've seen in Mdot yet. And I've been here for a lot.
Oh, we still got someone out here to try to challenge Kevin Jordan for the league, or for the win.
Who?
DJ Stallenberger's out here, back running.
Yeah, but if you look at his front end, that thing is beat to hell. Unless he got it fixed. Yeah. If he can underpower, he can definitely stick in that draft and maybe get a good run with some help. I mean, if he has some help, possibly, but that front end is beat to hell. That's a big parachute on that right side of that truck. And that's if he has full power. Wildcat number 45, he said, I almost made it through that wreck. So still some trucks on pit lane trying to get as much damage as they can fixed. As I'm pretty sure if I look at the meatball flags, there's going to be a ton of them. Let's go ahead and hide this real quick. And oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meatball flags. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who disconnected. So not the race this guy's looking forward to. But luckily, we are not in the playoffs yet. This is a non-playoff race. As if this was a playoffs, man, that would have some big implications.
Yes, it would.
Ryan Simone posted on Discord. They said Monza would be fun. 34 minutes of required repairs. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I believe we only got 4 guys who decided to stick it out. Chase Harden's a lap down, and Marshall Harris is
11.
9 laps down.
Well,
Green.
if this does not stay green to the end of the race, I don't know what's wrong.
Kevin Jordan and DJ Schallenberger are already pulling away from Chase Harden and Marshall Harris.
Yeah, and Kevin's pulling away from DJ. I don't think Kevin. Go ahead.
He's sniffing the draft a little bit. He might be able to get up there. Maybe just slow getting up to speed.
No, he's still falling back. Within the next couple seconds or so, he can be out of the draft. Oh, is this somehow has another caution? There's some issues because we got, I think, 4 trucks out on track right now racing. You got the 95, 15, 5, and 78 out there. everybody else is in pits or either has left the race. So, I'm going to watch the final 16 laps of this race. It's kind of locked in. It's turned into a one-man show out there with Kevin Jordan leading the field, making it through the huge one. And we'll try to get some better camera angles of that after the races. Like I said before, these camera angles on Monza are dookie. Well, the oval.
TV1's not bad.
Yeah, it's TV1 just has too much dead space during the turns, and you lose them in the trees. Adam Leineke on Facebook with the thinking emoji or wondering emoji, whatever you want to call that. Yeah, that whole wreck was just caused by really bad netcode. You know what's funny about netcode is every update I see iRacing post, hey, we fixed netcode. No, you haven't. Clearly. What did you fix? As this might get a little interesting though, because Marshall Harris is catching up to the 15 here, and with some draft help, they might be able to catch this 95 machine.
Maybe. Right now, DJ Schallenberg is going 180. Marshall Harris is going 193. I believe DJ is either slowing down or it's down on power.
And if I'm DJ right here, I'm on race car. I'm like, hey Marshall, can you back up and try to help me catch up to Kevin? Like, I'm trying to get as much help as I can. That's definitely not the case, as Marshall Harris is pulling away from DJ now.
Yep, DJ is definitely down on power.
Jonathan Nance with the explosion emoji. Well, it was a exciting race while it lasted.
Do you think Schimmel's gonna allow this one to still count?
Just
Or what do you think they're gonna do?
Just mark this down as a fun race. No, we bullied Kevin Jordan's win. Like, hey, Kevin Jordan, we know you won that race, but it was actually just a fun race. We weren't actually out here racing. As they're catching up to Chase Harden here. About to put Chase Harden 2 laps down. Jonathan Nancy and redo. Hey, Shimma, can we create a whole new session to redo it and have them all have one quick fix? just scrap this race. As Chase Harden went to pits, did he blow up?
I think he blew it in.
No. Did he?
Yep, he blew it in.
No! Oh my god. Yeah, he's sitting at about 5.5 RPMs right now. Going through 3 and 4.
Marshall Harris right now is gonna try to unlap himself from Kevin Jordan.
Yep, there it goes. Right out of 4. Alright, so here's the new stipulation, alright? Since Marshall Harris started this race late, him and Kevin Jordan are on the same lap technically. And that's what we're gonna go with, so they're gonna be racing for the win. That's what we're gonna do.
Well, Marshall Harris, he gained a bunch of attrition positions so far. He was back in 12th, but now he's up to 6th place because he decided to join late.
Marshall's going to get a top 3 here. He's only 9 laps down with 11 to go. Well, if you don't hit the wall, Marshall, that's the wall there, buddy. Don't do that. Kevin's coming to pit lane.
Jordan's coming into the pits.
Yeah, Kevin, just stay there for 9 laps. Let Marshall unlap himself 9 times, and then come back out and let y'all race it out. Hey, Shim will throw a caution flag when Marshall gets back on the lead lap. Well, I mean, it turned into a pretty boring race. We'll make it work here.
DJ Schallenberger is your leader now.
Oh, yeah, shoot. Kevin Jordan can't stay in pit lane. DJ's still out there. Oh, wow. I think.
But DJ is down on power.
83 back out on track.
Will DJ Schallenberger be able to stay out front with him being down on power for 8 more laps now? I don't know if he'll be able to.
It's 10, and for one, and for two, he might, because I think Kevin had to pit because he wasn't going to make it on fuel. And with DJ being down on power, he's not using as much fuel. So if that little engine that can keep on running for 9 more laps, I mean, let's go ahead and this actually might turn into a race here. Take a look at some last lap times as we'll have to wait for Kevin to cross again.
Kevin is closing in fast. He was at 15 seconds back. Now he's brought it down to 14 already.
Yeah, we'll take a look at some last lap times and do a little bit of quick math. And we can't use the last lap because DJ had pitted. Or Kevin had pitted. With Marshall Harris coming to pit lane to get some more fuel. The DJ running a 54.18. I think qualifying time was a 51. So Kevin
Josh
Jordan.
Van Weston's back out as well.
So Kevin Jordan about 2.5 seconds quicker, down to 11 seconds behind. Yeah, he'll be able to catch up for sure. He'll catch up with about 3 to go.
DJ's gonna have to throw some massive blocks.
I don't know how smart of a move that is with how damaged his truck is. It's gonna get him wrecked. So Marshall Harris is going to sneak into a podium finish here. That's crazy. Brandon Hughes, if we redo the race, I need 15 minutes. He posted on Discord. Everyone quick, start a petition on Discord for a redo. I think Derek's going to kill me now.
DJ Schallenberger is pitting in as well.
He must have just called that on the radio then.
Yep.
The DJ come to pit lane and hand that lead back over to the 95 of Kevin Jordan.
Marshall Harris and Vincent Bacon are on the lead lap, but Vincent Bacon is way down on power right now. Yeah, Vincent Bacon's going 142 miles an hour.
Hey, he's just trying to get in front of Chase, all right? Well, we got about 6 minutes to spare here.
And Ryan Simone has manually disconnected.
Let's go ahead and talk about Cup for a bit. we got 5 laps to spare here. Let's go ahead and talk about Cup, and let's go ahead and who do you think? I always like underdog stories. I know last season we had a couple. We had Anthony Frey kind of sneaking himself into the championship 4, had a pretty good running going early on until he got involved in a wreck, and then we had Al Corey, who almost snuck his way into he got into the championship 4 and he almost stole that championship away. Who do we got as the underdog in Cup?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Andrew Kolb, maybe.
You know what? I don't know if you can consider Andrew an underdog. He had a really strong season. Really strong season. I mean, if we look at regular season points, which I'm trying to pull up real quick.
He did have a strong season, but there's also a lot of really fast guys in Cup right now, too, who are going to be fighting for it.
So if we go to the regular season standings, I mean, he had that win, finished 8th in points, 4 top 5s and 5 top 10s. I mean, he had a really good. He had the 5th most top 5s behind Angel, Justin, both Justins. So he had a really strong season. Just the races that weren't too good for him were really bad for him. But I don't know if really Angel would be considered too much of an underdog. I mean, if we're going underdog, and I'm gonna say this with
Humans, maybe.
No, if we're going with the underdog, and I'm gonna say this is how his season started. I know he had a really bad, second half of the season. He started off the season really strong, was top 3 in points for really the first half of the season. And if he can get it together in playoffs, he could get his way into the championship 4. That's Schimmel. Schimmel had a really good start to the season. I think he was top 3 for literally the first half. Didn't win a race. All his top 5s came in that first half of the season. 7 top 10s. I think if anyone can be an underdog and sneak their way into championship 4, it's Schimmel.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. He's definitely going to possibly be a really good underdog.
I mean, I don't know what got into him this season, but I mean, he was good. I mean, he started off good. Great finish to Daytona to Scuba somehow. I think he ended up as the top 5 there. So he's definitely worked on his road course racing. I don't remember. I don't watch a Roval, so I don't know where he finished there. We go to the Rock, which is the track, if I remember correctly, he did pretty good at last season. And then we go to another road course. So, I mean, I think Schimmel might be able to sneak his way in. I think, yeah, if we're going underdog, that's my pick. It's definitely Schimmel. As we get the white flag here. So we talked about Cup. Let's go to Xfinity. Who we got for underdogs there? I mean, your people we know are going. I mean, Davey, of course, unless something horrible happens to Davey in a round of 8. Francisco for sure. Eric for sure. I think Eric and Joshua will be fighting it out for a spot for sure. But my pick on the sleeper, Tim. Tim had a really, really outstanding season. Finished 5th in points. No top 5 shocking, but he has 7 top 10s. I mean, it only takes 1 or 2 top 5s in a round of 4 to get yourself into the championship 4. Or round of 8. As a checker flight comes out, Kevin Jordan across the start-finish line. So definitely keep your eye out on Schimmel and Harmon in their respective playoff series, as they could be the ones to watch going into Phoenix to sneak into Homestead.
I don't know. For Xfinity, I might have to go with Thomas Stanley as an underdog. I know he had a rough start of the season, but as the season's progressed, he's been improving a lot. So he could possibly make it up there. He's sitting 7th right now in standings for X80.
I know I'm gonna hear about it from Thomas. Thomas has to get himself out of the top. Thomas has to get himself in the top 10 first, all right? Without people ranking. I'm gonna give you a hard time, Thomas. I mean, I don't know. Based on how the season went, only 3 top. I'm gonna have to go with Tim. I mean, the 4 which will more than likely make it: Davey, Eric, Josh, and Francisco. But I think Tim can knock one of those 4 down and sneak his way into the championship 4. So why Kevin does his little burnouts, let's go ahead and let's go back and look at this wreck one more time. Because this wreck was just absolutely insane. Let's go ahead. Let's go a couple cars back. Backwards. And look how far back these guys were. Look at the 45. I should go even further back. Well, that's a pace truck. There we go. Look at Lideke. Look how far back Lideke is, and he still gets involved in this. Boop. Damn, that was a huge wreck. Look at them piled up there. The 2483. Wow, 4J went for a ride. We go onward tonight. This is the big wreck. This is basically moving the race was secured to win for Jordan here. We're getting through this. 4G is trying to keep it going straight. Hits the wall, and all he sees is the sky. And then cutting down the bushes. Man, this track's wild. We got the podium finishers in there. Let's go ahead and pull Mr. Marshall Harrison. What is going on, Marshall? Marshall, you there?
Yep.
What's going on, man? I don't know what happened to you to start the race. You started 11 laps late. Come back to the whole field being wiped out. What was going through your head?
No, I had internet issues. I did not expect myself to get a top 3 at this track. You know, it's Monza. Anything could happen. I'm happy I got a top 3.
Yeah, I gotta ask you that, dude. Like, you have internet issues. You come back and you see the whole field wrecked out. Were you like, what the hell did I miss?
That was the major thing I saw. Was like, everyone was taking it out, and I got positions to gain. All right, I'll take it. I mean that sucks for everyone who was involved in that wreck, but at the same time, like half of them are like the playoff drivers that I'll be racing in the truck playoffs, but at the same time, you don't have to feel bad for them.
I feel bad for y'all, but I don't. Better you than me, he says. Yeah, luckily it wasn't a playoff race. And man, this had huge implications, man. But Taco's going into the playoffs. I believe you're in. I don't know for sure. I would have to double check. I mean, if you're not, Taco's going into the playoffs, and what your hopes are is, I think Schimmel picked you as a sleeper pick. What do you think of that?
I mean, hey, I'm fine being a sleeper pick. You know, I'm just here to make a point to everyone in the truck series.
That you're not as bad as I say you are?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, congrats on kind of sneaking your way into the top 3, getting some positions by just staying out there and driving. I know it was probably a really boring last 16 laps of the race, but I guess congrats on your internet going out and getting the top 3 because of it. You can thank your internet coming for this top 3. All right, man. Catch you later.
Yep.
All right, next let's bring in the number 15 at DJ Schomburg. What is going on, DJ?
How's it going?
Whoa, you are loud. I gotta turn you down.
Oh.
No, you're good. I was gonna turn you down. Hey, man, going to talking through this race, dude. That big one happened. You had nowhere to go. Still managed second somehow. You were clearly really, really underpowered after that green flag flew. Go ahead and talk us through that race and what you're looking forward to going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it was just about getting lucky going into that wreck. Yeah, like you said, I had nowhere to go. Just try to hit the brakes and hopefully nobody rear-ended me. I got a little lucky, and after that it was just, I was down on power just a touch, but not too much, but not enough to catch P1.
Yeah, I saw that you had pitted, dude. Were you going to be really short on fuel? Did you have to pit, or what was the deal with that?
So after the wreck, obviously I had to pit for fuel and obviously for some repairs, and wasn't quite sure where the pace car was on my end, which is my own fault. And so I kind of got out of the pits a little early, but then towards the end there was no way I could have made it on fuel. I was probably 3 laps short, so had to fuel one more time.
All right, man. The other question I got to ask you, dude, is how worried were you about your engine blowing after you saw Chase's blow?
Not terribly, just because I was keeping an eye on the water temps, and I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't too far down on power, but it wasn't complete. So I mean, if it blew, it blew. It wasn't a big deal to me. So.
All right, man. Congrats on that P2. Not sure how the playoffs are going to shape out. I know you're sitting 20th in points, but I think there might be a couple of inactive drivers possibly in the playoffs. So you might sneak your way in. If you do, good luck in the playoffs. If not, it's going to be fun seeing you out there race.
All right, thanks, man.
I'll find it right there. It is. All right, next, go ahead and pull in our race winner, Mr. Kevin Jordan. What is going on, Kevin?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man, probably the easiest win you'll ever get in iRacing in general.
Yes, I would have to agree.
Man, I know we talked to you earlier, getting through that big one. Being ahead of that big one really is kind of the move of the race that got you that win. I know it's joking around on broadcast, like, man, just park it for 8 laps, let you and Marshall Harris shoot it out to the end. I mean, would you have done that had DJ not been on the lead lap?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you gotta make it fun for everyone, right? So, you know, I mean, everyone that was racing is already in the playoffs, so I could have made it a little bit fun.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and talk about playoffs. I mean, I know you haven't been in as many of the races as a lot of these guys have. I think you've only made 8 races compared to some of these other guys. Still sitting, well, you're sitting 9th for tonight. We might move up a position or two in the standing. Go ahead and talk through the playoffs, as when you do race, you seem to be pretty dominant out there. Seem to be top 5 most of the time. Is there any track you're concerned about going into the playoffs?
To be completely honest, I don't even know what the playoff schedule looks like.
So you got Charlotte, Dover, Watkins Glen, then Homestead.
I'm gonna say Charlotte, Dover. Okay. Is Charlotte dirt? Is that right too?
No, it's no dirt. Derek took the dirt out, unfortunately.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I tried to run Dover a few times, and that kind of sucks for me. So that's probably the one I got to look out for the most.
All right, man. Well, so definitely Dover is your concern. That's interesting. I would probably be more concerned about Charlotte, just because, I like going to Charlotte, but since everyone knows Charlotte, it tends to have a little bit more issues than what I want to see. I've noticed with Dover, people tend to take it more cautiously just because of how the track is. But Charlotte's always kind of iffy. It can be a good race or it could be a bad one. So right. Charlotte should be interesting to be at night. And I know these trucks have a ton a ton of grip at Charlotte at night. So it's going to be a really fast-paced race. So I would definitely be a little bit concerned about that one if I was a truck driver. But I get you, we're in Dover. It gets a little tricky, especially on older tires. You can get squirrely going down the straightaways. So I get Dover.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Well, congrats on the win yet again here tonight. Like I said, probably the easiest win you'll get, and look forward to seeing you on the playoffs.
All right, thanks, buddy.
All right, y'all. That will definitely conclude tonight's broadcast. As the first 14 laps were a good race, and then after that, we had Kevin Jordan kind of dominate the race as he was the only truck out there under full power, getting through that big wreck, making it through. But next week we do start playoff racing with the trucks. Like I was telling Kevin at Charlotte, it will be a night race. Gary can probably vouch for this. These trucks have a ton of grip at that track at night. It is insane the amount of grip you can have. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, Charlotte's one of the tracks you can dang near hold it wide open all the way around for qualifying. So qualifying times should be pretty close. The racing should be really tight until the tires start wearing off, and this can come down to tire wear. DJ Schomburg apparently missed playoff by one spot. Before we go offline, let's go ahead and go through the updated standings going into the playoffs. So, starting off in P1 in the playoffs will be Ryan Simone winning that regular season championship. What a season that kid had. Wow, the amount of improvement he's had since he started racing here a couple ARCA seasons ago has been insane. Chase Harden, Brandon Hughes, Adam Lodike, Alex Forget, Nick Joyner, Corey Boyne, Vince Vatkin, Kevin Jordan, David McGuire, Marshall Harris, Josh Van Western, Chase Jones, Gene Wolfe, Cody Shantz, and Brian Tiffany, which you were telling me, Gary, Brian's not racing no more, correct?
No, he is not.
So that would move DJ into 16th, I believe.
Yeah, it would.
So, if Derek is watching a broadcast, if you can message me, or I'll just drag you in here, one of the two, get verification on that. But DJ might sneak his way in. With Brian Tiffany being out of the league from what I am aware, with him being P16, DJ being 17th place, I think DJ might have snuck himself in the playoffs with his performance here tonight. So, definitely a good playoff crew we got going into the playoffs. As looking forward to it. And, I mean, Derek picked Marshall as a sleeper. I think I'm going to have to stick with, I can't remember who I picked. Oh, Van Western. That's right. So, definitely tune in next week as we kick off our one and only race of the round of 16, as each round will only have one race. And we will eliminate 4 drivers after every race. And I believe if you win a race during the playoffs, as long as you make every other race, you qualify to the championship for it. That's how it always has been with that format. Derek might be doing it differently. We'll ask him next week as we get into our playoff race. But thank you all for joining us. And do not forget, we do have some more races this week, some more playoff races this week, as we get ready to eliminate